grab Cursolo.
Cursolo going to be potentially the last map if the Zealots can qualify for the playoffs now. And again, if you tuned in a bit later, yes, there are situations in the standings where when we're only looking at the match score, there could be a three-way tie, there could be a four-way tie. But as we go down the criteria, this is all going to dissolve. So in case that you're not really familiar with the rules, after we look at the match score, if it's only two teams that are tied with each other, we look at part 1, part 2, and the two matches that the teams have placed against each other. If one of the teams has an advantage there, then the team with the 2-0, then of course the team advances. If that's also tied and it's a 1-1, then we look at the map score. If the map score is the same, we look at the number of 3-0s. If the number of 3-0s are the same, we look at the number of 3-1s, trying to determine how dominant the team is. And as it turns out, the biggest criteria for any possible three-way or four-way tie are in the end the number of 3-0s, because in that category, the good guys, the playing Ducks would lose out every single time against the other three teams that they could potentially tie in one of those big ties. So, bottom line is, Zealots, if they win, are through. Doesn't matter anymore how the Ducks perform against Fnatic. Even if the Ducks perform a 3-0 against Fnatic, the Zealots would still be in the playoffs and the Ducks would be in the Crucible. So that's why this map right now is so important. But even if the good guys come back into this, take the Zealots down, it would still mean that the playing Ducks later on would have to make a victory against Fnatic happen.
Kendor, is it selfish of me to want the good guys to win here? I want to go to game number 5. I don't care about the whole like who goes to Crucible. I mean, I care, but what I want is I'm looking at the moment right now. I'm tunnel visioned. I want game number 5 between these two because it's been a good series.
You just hate Grand Paquette, don't you?
That's what it is. What? Of all the people to pick?
Like, you... Okay. I mean, you come into Europe casting a bit later, but Grandpa is this guy that has been around from the first, from the first hour of European esports. And then when, especially towards 2015, 2016, his teams dropped off and he really just like dropped out of competition and was always trying to go back in. He's the one that's always just sitting there, it's like...
He's always on the edge of the bubble.
He's the one that comes in and says, I can't lose again. I can't lose again. First of all, he has that rivalry with Bakery, which is amazing. It's like, I don't want to see him hold another trophy. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to beat him. And then he's also the guy who always thinks about, oh my god, what happens if we lose right now? I can't fall back in the open division. I want to stay here. We do so well. Like, we need to make this happen. So that's why Grand Paquette. Like,
I mean, when you guilt me into it, now I'm cheering for the Zealots. I hope they win.
For me personally, he's like... He's the heart and soul of the team to an extent.
Sure.
Because like he's the emotions of the team, let's put it like that. But yeah, for the good guys and also for the Ducks, of course, a 5th map would be pretty good. For us as viewers, it's amazing. I'm just a little bit worried about the team. They're going to get a heart attack at some point.
Well, Team Good Guys will open up with an Uther here. So, obviously, as always talked about, ETC, Genji on the table. Got to think about how you're going to either handle them or if you're going to take them away from your opponent.
I mean, the standard would be ETC Rega. Then again, we know that the Zealots oftentimes prioritize Dehaka over Rega on the map like, Dehaka over ETC on a map like this. We have seen teams also just simply drop Rega, for example, and just go into both and pick ETC and Dehaka, and all of a sudden you're looking at a setup where you have not only Moshpit available, but the global on top of it. There's a good chance that Rega then is going to be eliminated and you won't be able to pick him, so you have to substitute with another healer later on, but it's still an option. But from a normal perspective, you would think ETC and Rega, but you can make adjustments, of course, to personal preference and also depending on how scared they are of Genji on the other side.
And I like Zealots.
There's
Move into it.
Like it.
ETC and Dehaka. I do feel like today they're being a little bit more on point when it comes to macro control compared to their opponents. I feel like Team Good Guys is fishing a little bit more, so I like this pickup. Okay,
so again, as I mean, I just went over the case, but the problem with this one is now you are willing to give up Rega. You're saying, hey, if our opponent wants to eliminate Rega, they already have Uther, then they can make sure that we don't get access to him. So you have to sub in with another support instead, which they definitely have the capabilities to do. Especially since we already talked about them also going into double support compositions with Lucio, for example.
Yeah.
It's another option that they have here. For the good guys, on the other hand, the hero that you're looking to at this point is Genji. You don't have the synergy with ETC and Uther anymore, but you can still head into a Genji play. Now, you don't have to. You can also simply think about Uther as a first healer. You add a second one, you play this with Vala or something else, but you have the option, and currently they're not using it. They're saying, you don't necessarily need Genji with this one. They go into Falstad, so they have some global play that helps them against the Dehaka control. And the Zealots are, of course, very well aware that later on in the draft, Genji is still an option. So most likely they're going to ban Genji out, currently hovering it.
Don't mind the play. It's a bit out there compared to what you normally see, but still the false edge strings are great. You're able to match to Haka on the globals. Not match fully. He's able to go in a little bit easier because of the brush talk, but you're at least able to be there. You do power up in the late game, and you get that Mighty Gust for the control of the bosses, which is always something you have to worry about in Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, and absolutely right. Like, control, global, that's his strength here for sure. For the good guys, there's now two options. Either you ban Reka, that's your first one. We talked about the reasons already. Or you instead start banning out damage. You can, for example, say, okay, we want to make sure that there's no Vala on the opponent's side. Or there's any other damage hero that we're worried about. But Rega is the play that you would expect, and that's also the one that they head into. So they're forcing Zealot out of the best or second best support, depending on how you argue. A lot of people actually... Still, a lot of players that you talk to will flat out state that by now Rega is the best support in the game, unless you look for a specific combo with Uther, for example.
I was also thinking about false head counters that you want to stay away from. Genji was one that you don't want to deal with, but Shad has played a long time ago with Zeratul. Again, that's a huge stretch out of there, but we could see it come in.
Greymane is something that I'm looking into.
True.
Because when you, in this setup right now, when you have Greymane, it really starts to threaten Falstad. And you would also not really want to give Greymane over to the good guy. So that's a hero that, if I'm the Zealots, I'm at least considering at this point.
Major supports that you want to move into. If you go for the double support, you'll grab that Lucio. Lucio can be pretty solid here, but there is also dive potential if you want to help out. There is a Karazim for the Palms, and there is that Karazim, and they actually grab Lunara here.
Yeah, Karazim and Lunara, so we could definitely see them also with the second support, for sure. Could play that card. Good guys still have the option to go into Greymane if they want to. Johanna already chosen. There's still the question, what is anti-hero going to play? That's actually a good question, what anti-hero is going to play right now. Because we could still see something along the lines of the Sonya, but I'm actually wondering what outlier heroes are there where I would say, okay, this is going to be something where they could just like say, let's YOLO it. My mind with anti-hero jumps immediately to Chen. But I don't really think that would really fit here.
Illidan, is that a little bit too crazy?
I mean, they played a lot of Illidan, and ever since he got nerfed a bit, that was always... He has fallen off a lot. You have Uther, so that's not too bad. Normally with Illidan, you're more so looking towards Rega at the start, so that you get the Lightning Shield too. But Uther's Divine Shield is, of course, fantastic with him. You're going up against an ETC and Dehaka on the other hand, so I'm not quite sure if you're really going to be able to make that work. It's going to be Vala and Oriel, so double support once again, and we're going to see... I guess we're going to see him Vala.
Anti-hero has played a lot of different heroes.
Yeah, he's been all over the place in the last few weeks, for sure.
Genji, Leoric, Arthas, Vala. Definitely heroes that are very similar in mechanics.
I mean, they had raid boss sometimes on the second support, but they could also put anti on one of them, I suppose.
Well, the final pickup for Zealots. What will it be here? Will it be that second support? Will we have something a little bit more dangerous for Shad?
I mean, they have the damage output that they played, right, when they go into a second support as well. With Shad, as we said, like, Lucio is one of the heroes that he has been playing quite a bit, but... I mean, nah.
Vikings aren't a possibility against a Falstad. Is that what you're thinking?
Vikings would have been fun, but yeah, that's not going to happen. But I always like... I mean, he doesn't play them as much anymore as he did in the past, but I would have liked them.
Chromester.
So they go into a Chromie here. Wondering if I would have preferred Li Ming over her, but Chromie is just right now so good. And that is even before the patch, where she even gets another big boost.
So we're going to have Shad probably the Lunara, and then Poik on the Chromie?
I hate you, Josh.
I missed it. What happened? What's so funny?
He's not telling me the bans. Because of the last draft.
At least he's got your back, dude.
Yeah, but...
At least he's got your back. That's awesome. Josh, good job, man. We're proud of you. People love Josh. Josh deserves hearts.
At this point, I have the problem that I don't trust him anymore. So when he tells me a ban,
Josh
I'm like...
ever steered you wrong?
Oh, dude. Like, first of all, he always tortures me with the wrong trailers. He doesn't play Stitches as much as he should. Like, there's so many things wrong with all of this.
Wow, you just hold grudges all day.
He is wearing a Tempo Storm shirt today.
That is pretty...
Josh, what's up with that?
Up.
It's like,
Doesn't care about
bias
you.
on the production team. It's just like, wow.
He needs to bring 2 shirts in, one in the morning and one at night.
Exactly, like a European shirt and a North American shirt.
Wouldn't be bad at all.
Yeah.
Well, looking at the drafts here, moving into game number 4, who walks away with Kursala? Remember, Tass and Genji have been banned. So continue. This is your time to talk.
I already told him. Next year, what's going to happen is I'm going to have a little box down here. Yes, I don't know what's going to be in there yet. Plush Murkies or something like that. And every time he gets cheeky, I throw one at him.
As long as I get to keep it, that's fine. If you
It's
throw a plush Murkies at me...
It's not going to be Murky. It's going to be something else.
Plush
like little
Brightwing.
Murlocs. I don't... Brightwings?
New Brightwing is
you.
insane.
Yeah,
I love new
that makes it even
Brightwing.
worse because then we're actually going to see her. Ugh.
Game 4. Let's do it here. Team Good Guys and Zealots fighting out. Zealots want to get a win here. They want to be able to ensure themselves in the playoffs. But will they lose another game to Good Guys and tie up the series and go to game number 5?
Game on! Game 4, we have Grand Paquette on Karazim. We have Mopsio on ETC. Poik on Chromie. The Zamster on Dehaka. And Shad on Bambi's mom.
On the right side, in the red, it will be Team Good Guys, as an anti-hero will be your Volo player. Raid Boss will be on Falstad. Zay, it will be Uther. Kronaz on Oriole. And BKB will be on Johanna.
Look at that build! Vala going straight into a pretty old build that we have seen. I think it was 2016 at the end. It might have actually been played once or twice in the first phase of 2017's HGC as well. Caltrops being played. So it's a lot about the vault cooldown being reduced here after level 5. So that can be pretty sweet. What you're basically then doing later on, you tumble a lot more often. Usually you combo it with Death Dealer on level 7 as well. And that can give you a huge amount of damage boost then once you have all of that. And of course, Caltrops themselves, if you expect chase, then it's a pretty fantastic tool as well. It's, for example, great if you're being chased by a Dehaka.
There are 3 targets that can chase her here. The ETC, the Dehaka, and the Karazim. It actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It's just a matter of will he be able to get that value at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, Caltrops can... Like, I have seen really interesting Caltrops comps and builds, especially, again, at the end of 2016. There were a couple of players that were playing that a lot. I'm actually wondering who exactly it was back then. I think it was one of the Swedes that used for quite some time. And it can be pretty cool, actually, as a tool, but you're also heavily reliant on your auto attacks then. But I'm pretty curious to see how much anti-hero can get out of it. On this map, we have seen a lot more arrow builds recently because you're trying to get the boss control. But of course, with that talent and the cooldown reduction, you can get a lot of value, especially after your level 7 talent. So we're going to watch out for the build that Antti uses here a bit, but he's definitely someone that thinks a lot about not only drafts, but also talent builds that he uses and tries to find specific adjustments for situations where he feels that he gets value. So it's definitely something worth watching out for now.
And that 7 talent you're talking about is that Death Dealer. Whenever you're able to vault forward and get an auto attack that kills a target, whether it be a minion or an opposing hero, your vault is instantly refreshed. So that means you could essentially, if you were to theoretically just kill the minions in front of you, which is a total of 7 of them, you can get 7 vaults. You're going to burn your mana down, but still you get a lot of Caltrops.
You can just tumble through an entire wave, so that gives you a lot of potential value. The question is always, it's not only about it looking cool, you have to get some value, actual value out of it in the team fight, not only against the minion wave.
You don't want to look cool in your games, Kaldor?
Yep, and there we have it, auto attack, and he immediately dies. So...
That did not look cool.
No, that did not look cool at all. But he has taken Creed of the Hunter now. But again, this is a Creed of the Hunter variation without having Hot Pursuit as the level 1 talent. So that's another one to point out here. So from a movement speed perspective, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult for him. We have seen one time Creed of the Hunter already being played this season in the European scene, and that was on Towers of Doom by Nurok in the series against Expert. The game was lost by Team Liquid, but he still got a lot of value out of it. So the downside of Creed of the Hunter is that it's a pretty shit talent, actually, for most of the time, because you don't really get a lot of advantage out of your level 4. It gets fantastic when you complete it. The big problem with it is, most of the time, since you're not brawling the entire match, it takes an eternity to actually complete it and get the value. But if you have a map, nice attempt here, good kill against Mopsio. if you have a map where you, with double support, can be very much in the face of your opponent and can make sure that you're getting a lot of hits in and you complete it super early, let's say around the 6 or 7 minute mark, then all of a sudden you get a huge amount of damage output. But if your opponent plays it right, they try to play around you a little bit, allow you less auto attacks, and then for the major duration of the game, you're not going to get any value out of it. So that's the big downside of the talent and one of the main reasons. That's why most people don't play it at all in the competitive scene.
Poik is just killing it right now in terms of positioning, by the way. He drops down a wonderful time trap, comes in and brings out the combo. It does a solid job of putting damage on that fall stat and also the front line that was coming in, which allows for Zealots to move forward here and look towards that tribute.
Yeah, so Tribute is currently being channeled and the Zealots are starting, I mean, they are doing a really good job with Poik just having the space so they can fire away and gets the damage in. And they've been doing a lot of it as well. And you can actually start to see the problem that you have with Creed of the Hunter. If you are in a position where you are pushed back, where you have to play more defensive, any kind of auto attack talent is actually starting to lose a lot of its value. It's one of the main arguments, for example, why oftentimes when you see a false stat in a certain setup, you are not going to see an auto attack build, but instead you're going to see Gathering Storm and a mage build, because the thought process behind it is that even if you're on the defensive and you have to kite back, you can always throw it out and get value. So that's the big advantage of having the spells there. If you need to be in auto attack range, you need to be a lot closer to the opponent, which exposes you. That's why Creed of the Hunter is only played with double support, and most of the time only when you have also double tank, because you need someone to create that space for you. And in this setup, with Chromie firing away, Lunara being an obstacle, you can see that it's really difficult for Vala to move into auto attack range and get that value right there. So if you are on the defensive, completing that talent is nearly impossible.
Should be able to get some possible auto attacks in when they go back to the landing phase, which should be happening pretty soon. Ball's already on the way back down there, but you're completely correct. I mean, look at the stacks right now. Only 11 are currently in for Anti-Hero on that Vala. By now, if you're having a good day, you usually want to be around like 30 to 35 stacks, but right now, with him not being able to force those fights with the ETC, the Dahaka, and the Chromie just being on the opposing side, controlling the fight too much, Team Good Guys will have difficulty closing that out. And Mopsio even comes over here, steals the Merc Camp with the help of Zarmany, and they're looking for a fight. Zay in the front line being focused, as well as Kronas.
Yeah, Zealots are currently playing this fantastic, and these blocks that they have against the two supports are, of course, a huge part of it. So they're able to get that double damage in. Now, the one thing to point out is that Zealots are currently doing extremely well. But if the late game actually happens, if at any point, not only... I mean, we focus a bit on Vala because the build is so different from what we usually see. If at any point Creed of the Hunter is completed and also Falstad is able to get his Seasoned Marksman completely stacked, then we're talking about a really different game, because both of the auto attackers then can in fights put a huge amount of damage on the two tanks. So not only the Haka but also ETC is really going to suffer. The problem of this entire setup is it really comes online super late, and the Zealots know that too, and they are already a level ahead. So what they need to do now is they have to completely dominate the early game. They have 2 tributes already, so they're doing exactly what they need to do. They can try and go for early boss plays, and they should try and get an early curse. And once that's the case, they will attempt to snowball that advantage. And if you play those cards right, you are going to be dominating the map before your opponent has any chance of really harnessing the potential that those talents and those builds give them, because it's all about the exploitation of the weaker early game of your opponent.
With the lead right now, if they actually want to beeline straight to the boss on the bottom side, they can make a double boss play by giving up the next tribute, allowing Team Good Guys to have it, have 2 of those pushing in, and then grab the tribute afterwards for the curse. Zealots have everything running for them here, while Team Good Guys are attempting just to get back to level 10.
Yeah. Also, while we're fanboying talents in general just a little bit, let's jump on another one that would have been a good choice here. We have currently Karazim as the solo heal, and that's one of the reasons why ETC went into Brockrock. But to be honest with you, with this setup that we're currently seeing for the Good Guys and the heavy focus on auto attacks from Vala and Falstad, plus also Blast Momentum, it would have been fantastic to have also the block party taken on ETC here. So Brockrock is still awesome. It's great for the extra heal, but this is a huge play where you could have said, okay, it's better if you go into additional blocks. But still, the Zealots are playing a great game here. I mean, this is pretty evident. They have camps pushing the map. We have the curse now hitting. They had the early level 10, so the Good Guys couldn't even contest it. And right now, the first fort is down. They've been split all over the map. Zealots are right now in total control. But again, the problem for them potentially is the late game.
And that late game will be here soon. 13 will be the first spike there. 16 for that mana core that comes in for the Vala. The Creed the Hunter stacks currently right now are still sitting at 14. There has yet to be a fight around the Vala for her to get more stacks in. Team Good Guys are looking for a fight on the bottom side as they want to brawl.
Yeah, the Good Guys, they would love to brawl. The longer the brawls, the longer with the double support they are able to keep a sustainable fight up, the more value they are going to get for Vala, the more she is going to be able to stack her talents. We don't have the level 1 quest completed yet either. It's currently sitting at 125 seconds, so pretty soon we're at least going to have the reduction on the vault cooldown. But overall, it is a problem with how passive the Good Guys have to play, especially because of that Chromie pick at the end. It's really rough for Vala to get auto attacks in.
Continuing to control space. Speaking of Chromie, she's at 28 stacks right now on her quest to get that Echo. Not quite connecting here on the bottom side, but again, while they have Team Good Guys looking for this fight in the bottom, look at Dehaka in the top lane all by himself, clearing out the way, slowly chunking out that fort. Falstad having to rotate between lanes is a little bit on the slower side, but doable. And Zealots have gained a nice lead because of it. They're about to hit level 13.
Now, the part is, though, that Zealots have currently a 1-level lead. And to keep in mind how this came to pass, they actually got a curse already. So there's a lot of structures that are slowly eliminated by the Good Guys. They're taking a few of the towers out, and that gives them experience. A level 13 talent's, of course, a lead for the opponent. But, oh my god, Poik! There's a quick palm. And he is actually dying. The palm just over as Antihero moves in and gets the kill. Xay just completed his level 1 quest talent as well as Antihero is moving in a bit deeper.
Boss.
But that was pretty successful.
Well, Team Good Guys move over for the boss. We're going to see here as they clear out the bottom side. They have 15 seconds before Chromie is back on the field. They decide to go ahead and grab the turrets instead to at least get closer on experience in that 13 and send Falstad back to middle to keep working on that marksman.
Yeah, so right now we're having another tower and another wall completely obliterated. That gave a lot of experience over to the Good Guys. And now they're starting to close in on level 13 as well. And I've been talking about late game on these heroes already a bit. Think about the level 20 talents too. Once we have a level 20, there are huge talents that can give you massive, massive advantages with auto attacker builds. Doesn't matter if you go into full damage with Rancor or still into the Farfly Quiver, where it gives you the extra range that you need to be totally safe. Those talents, if they ever come into play on even, like in an even situation where both of the keeps still hold on, both of the teams still hold onto their keeps, that would be a massive power spike.
Team Good Guys do hit 13 just in time for this next tribute. Luckily for the Zealots, it spawns in a location where they can control the space well. They have a Wisp on the right side, Mopsio as well, and a time trap in the bush that you normally see people rotate through. So Team Good Guys will have to make their way on to the bottom side while going through a few speed bumps.
Yeah, Antihero currently sitting at 23 stacks on Creed of the Hunter. We're also having Gloom now taken, so that helps a lot against Chromie in particular. And still Dehaka with that global soak. It's just a huge problem. Now as Falstad is moving in, they need to take this one fast so that Dehaka doesn't get even more value. There's a good move with a great gust here. Anti getting the damage in and they are killing Lunara. Great attack by the Good Guys. The mosh pit hits and Falstad might fall victim, but a nice move from Kronos keeping Falstad alive. Xay is also still in play here. The globals have moved in and a good drag is eliminating Vala. That was a perfect play here. Zarmony saving the team fight for the Zealots.
That drag really nailing it. Also the Blessed Shield missing too really hurt the Team Good Guys in that fight. Can't believe they actually got the kill on the Lunara. Almost working out for them, but with Vala being gone, things are going to be a little bit hairy here with Lunara spawning in 5 seconds. Mopsio on the top, starting the tribute. We'll drop them the Slowing Sands, and Poik will begin to poke where he can. He is looking for that Falstad or Oriole.
Yeah, they are trying, Zarmony is also going to try and look, of course, for that drag again. But Vala dying hurts them twice. Not only that the main damage dealer is gone, but also Vala can't stack anymore. BKB in trouble as well, and that drag connects, and that's what they needed. There's the death of BKB. And with Johanna gone now, this is even opening up a boss play for the Zealots.
Vala currently at 40 stacks, but Chromie also at 40 stacks with her Sandblast. The boss being focused down is getting lower and lower on health. Falstad will have the Mighty Gust, but no major play coming in from Team Good Guys to stop it. Now, are they going to start their boss? You can assume the Zealots are doing so. They haven't shown up on the map for the last 6 to 8 seconds here. They will move over to the boss, but one has to wonder if it is too late. Zarmony grabbing the boss will be able to brush Doc over.
Yeah, also we are seeing in this situation now at the same time, Falstad with 30 stacks on his Seasoned Marksman, which is also pretty big. 16 is a huge problem now for the Good Guys since the Zealots are going to get access to that talent in a few seconds. And as you already said, they needed to move away from the boss. Antihero is there, but so is a Wisp from Lunara. So they have vision. They know what's going on. And there's level 16 talent. There's no way that the good guys can actually make that play. It would be incredible dangerous for them to go in for it.
Zay and BKB on the back left. They're looking at Poik.
Oh.
The shield comes out. Can they get the Chromie kill? They do have the Divine Palm come out, but sadly, Damage is going to come out and get the kill there as Johanna is going to proc it with the Burning Rage. A drag comes off on Zay. He gets low. Aegis will be used, but he should be getting cleaned up here pretty easily. Team Good Guys doing their best to fight, but are losing pretty handily.
Yeah, he had the chance to go for a Divine Shield, though. Divine Shield was ready, and he decided that he would not sacrifice the cooldown since they are only on level 14. So he made the choice of rather dying than getting the cooldown blown away. Drag coming in once again. Anti-hero is down. There's the kill. Chromie delivers. And that is 7 kills against 8 kills against 3. And an immediate boss play. Once again, the Zealots just completely dominating this early on. The late game composition of the Good Guys so far not really coming online.
Team Good Guys have yet to get a tribute this game. The next one for the Zealots will be a curse. The keep in the bottom did fall to the boss. They got picked off with the help of some additional minions. Team Good Guys will have to wait for Vala and Ariel to respawn before they have a chance to fight.
So we're 17 minutes into the game. Let's give you guys a bit of an update with our quest talents. We have Chromie currently on 45 stacks. Vala with Feet of the Hunter on 44. And Falstad on 34 with Seasoned Marksman. Johanna also not completing Regeneration Master yet as the fight continues. Once again, the Gust being used. But so far, no kill. Xay moving in, this time actually using the Divine Shield. But once again, the Good Guys, at least for now, surviving. They are close to level 16. That would be another big power spike, of course, for the heroes. Manticore coming online for Vala, which is going to be huge. At the same time, also the attack speed increase from Oriel would be a very, very big asset for these fights. But they have a lot of trouble as the push is once again continuing, and they need to go into auto-attack range to really unfold their damage.
They also need to stop this tribute, which has spawned in a great spot for Zealots. It's on their disengage route. They can move over, set up. Yeah, they're not going to stop this at all. It's going to be a curse pushing in. They're going to attempt to.
Falstad, if he flies in. Johanna's going to try for a flashlight, but that shouldn't work.
She used it already for that bush to check out. Grandpa gets it, and here's curse time.
Yeah, second curse. Manticore has now been chosen for Vala, and Oriel, as expected, is going into Wrath of Heaven. Spell power, actually. What?
Does that benefit Caltrops?
That makes 0 sense. I actually think that's a misclick. That happened to... I remember that happened to Zealots once. Happened to Grandpa Kette once, where he actually wanted to go into the attack speed and misclicked it and just like didn't really think about it. And I think that's the same here for Kronos. With 2 auto attackers that are your main damage dealers, that makes very little sense to go to spell power here. Divine Shield had to be used on Falstad as he flies in and misses. Here comes, on the other hand, Vala with the damage. Mob Shield's nearly low, but Falstad. Chromie in this game is just so dominant in these fights.
Landing the Dragon Eye into the Sandblast. Oh no, and Aegis comes out. Let's be another shot here from Poik. The drag does delay it, but Anti-Hero trying his best to get on out. Does Kronos have the heal? He's being poisoned. He's getting low, but Grandpa going forward for the kill. Anti's going to be able to get back to the fountain to heal up, but Kronos not so lucky, getting picked off. Vala and Zay and BKB have to make a miracle happen, or the Zealots will make it to the playoffs.
Vala is down. The core already attacked. The keeps are falling one after another, and the core losing shields is just getting obliterated. The catapults are already on point, and only Johanna is alive. This is going to be game. At this point, it's a 3-1. The Zealots take the Good Guys down and move on to the playoffs, confirming the Playing Ducks to be the second team to go to the Crucible.
Zealots with a big victory today, a little bit closer than expected, but on Cursed Hollow they came out and made sure to shut down their opponents, and good for them, man. A bit of a rough season overall, couple of moments where it didn't look too great, but they have made it. They are the first team to come over from the Crucible, come into the HGC here in Europe, and be able to make sure they secure themselves for the next phase of HGC.
In the last game, I would say Poik in particular on Chromie just doing exceptional work. With him firing away and putting so much pressure onto all of the heroes on the side of the Good Guys. It was so difficult for Vala to get her stacks together, for the other players to get their quest talents. Just engaging in general was really rough since you had that softening up. And so many times we actually saw someone attempting to escape, and there was always another quick hit by Chromie that confirmed the kill. It was exceptionally well done. So in this game, I mean, Poik, it was pretty solid. He ended up with not quite as much damage as Shat, for example. Chromie around 40,000k, Shat on 60k, but the kills that he confirmed, those were incredibly important.
Still, a big shout out to Zealots. This season was great for them. Remember them coming out, having that big win over the Plain Ducks in week number 1, and then they started to falter a little bit, and then they started to come together as a roster. Well done by them, coming together as a team of 5 and completely trying to push forward the limits. Now, of course, there's still more room for them to grow, obviously, but you got to look at their season and give them, a good solid B+, right? They came through here, and they made it get done.
Yeah, and now we are going to see them again. I mean, we see them still in the playoffs, so they confirmed their spot right now. And that's going to be super important for them too. It's, of course, a bit of a heartbreaking story for the Playing Ducks as well, but they have another series later on against Fnatic. And they still have a chance to stay in the HGC if they win their Crucible match. And, of course, the team that makes it as the #1 place through the Open Division playoffs is going to have the choice of teams. So that's how it works, that if you win the playoffs for Open Division, you can choose which one of the 2 HGC Crucible teams you want to go up against in the Crucible, and the #2 spot takes the other one.
And I don't know what's going to happen. Looking at phase number 1, you saw B Genius and Synergy fall down in the Crucible, and you could tell they were the weakest of the season. But going into this Crucible here, you look at Team Good Guys, and while they had the worst record, they have days where they look wonderful.
Yeah.
And then you have Playing Ducks who have come together. I can't tell what's going to happen at the Crucible, but let's go ahead and go to the interview. We actually have Mopsio. Mopsio, congratulations on your big win today. You guys are going to the playoffs.
Hello. Yeah. I mean, it's not confirmed yet that we are going to the playoffs.
Yeah, it is.
Fnatic needs to win at least one more map.
No.
One map? No? Okay.
You're
Then
in?
our maps. Then we second mass. And feels amazing.
So yeah, I can take that away from you. Unless everybody that looked over it missed something, you guys are absolutely confirmed because of the 3-0 score. So, I mean, you should have a bit of a relief there because, yeah, you should be confirmed for the playoffs now.
Yeah. Those games were kind of stressing us out a bit because, it's basically all or nothing in this series.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty rough for you guys, especially on the second map. We've seen you guys struggle a little bit during the games. Was that mainly... Did your mindset and did the fear of maybe dropping down into the Crucible have anything to do with it, or was that something that you guys could completely shut out during the games?
I think it's mostly stress. Usually we just go and we don't give a... we don't care about result, and we just go and we focus on playing our game like we did against Dignitas, for example. We knew that we were going to lose, so we said, okay, let's just play our game and it's fine. And we played really well, and then we knew that if we don't win, the things might not go fortunate, so we decided to just go all in, but it kind of pressured us a little bit too hard, I would say.
Right, thanks.
Mopsio, I want to ask you about the entire season here. We were talking about a little bit here on the desk, but how does it feel to have a team come all the way through the Crucible, make it to the second phase here of the HGC League play, and do well enough to make sure that you guys don't fall out again? You are now in the playoffs. That's a lot of growth for a team.
Yeah, especially knowing that team played 2 games without me. It's just amazing feeling, I would say, to just consistently improving. Everybody says that. Everybody talks to us and whispering us and saying, you guys look stronger every week. And it builds us up, and I really hope we can make it to BlizzCon with this kind of performance. Maybe not from this week, but from the previous one.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to you guys playing in the playoffs next week. Congratulations on your big win today. Before I let you go, the floor is yours for shoutouts.
Shout out to my team, of course. Shout out to my fans. I guess shout out to everybody. And yeah, I guess I'm back on the scene, guys.
Easy mode, all done there. Big win here for the Zealots. They take on the Good Guys and win with a victory 3-1. We'll be seeing them play next week in the playoffs. But our next matchup, we still have one here to end HGC play. Fnatic taking on the Plain Ducks.
And just to clear that up again, because obviously even on the Zealots there's some confusion of whether they are already confirmed with the playoffs or not. You could hear him that he said he feels that Fnatic has to take a map, and the reason why he says that is because when you looked at the score between the two teams before the series started, they actually had the exact same map score. So at that point, his thought process is if Fnatic potentially loses but takes extra maps, then even if the Ducks win the series in the map score, we are better and would therefore head into the playoffs, and the Ducks would be in the Crucible. The reason why that isn't even a point right now is that with the setup that we have, we would actually look straight at the 3-0s, and in that particular setup, then we have them winning. So because it's not only about the two of them going up against each other, because if the Ducks actually now win their series, then we would have 4 teams at the exact same match score, and then we are looking at the 3-0s later on. So we worked all of that already out. So unless everybody in the office missed something, and I don't think we did, we pretty much went through everything again twice, 3 times to make sure that that's true. It comes down at the end of the day when if the Ducks win to the 3-0s, and that's where the Ducks have the worst score, so they fall all the way down and are therefore the last of those 4 teams we would look at, and that would confirm them for the Crucible. So at this point, the Zealots are safe. They are in the playoffs.
Well, our tweets continue to flow in as you guys talk about your favorite moments here at the HGC in 2017. Got another one here from Highball. Worst part of HGC, no idea what I'll do in a month after BlizzCon. That is true. We will have a bit of a break. Maybe take that time to go outside and look at the sun or something. I don't know. What are you going to do, Caldor?
Winter?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go to Europe for a little bit.
Yeah?
That's
go back
the
home?
idea right now, yeah. Getting a new bike, so I'm going to bring that over to you guys.
You and your bikes, man.
Dude, it's so much fun. California is amazing for cycling. It's so good.
Well, we'll be right back with our last series here for Europe after this commercial break. This is the HGC.
After discovering